The schedule for today's class is to discuss certain aspects about memorization and to help you with certain tools for memorization. And time permitting, we will have individual chanting of the verses of the 11th chapter. We also have our panelist for today, Anuradha Hebbar Bhagini, who will be sharing with us her experience in memorizing all the 700 plus verses of the Bhagavad Gita and also submitting it, offering it in Sringeri before the Jagat Guravaha. And Neha also will be sharing her experience about memorizing verses and how it has helped her. So looking forward to that. And let us begin as usual with Dhyana Shlokaha. Then we will move on to certain aspects of memorization. Gururev gatir gurumev bhaje Gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave Na guroh paramam shishurasmi guroho Matirasti gurau mama pahi guro Narayanan namaskritya naran chaiva narottamam Devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet Vasudeva sutam devam kamsachanuramardanam Devaki paramanandam Krishnam vande jagadgurum Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata Narayanena swayam Vyasena grathitam purana munina Madhye mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Bhagavad-gite bhavadveshinim Namostute vyasa-vishala-buddhe Pullara-vindayata-patra-netra Yena tvaya bharata-taila-purnaha Prajvalito jnanamayah-pradipaha Mūkam karoti vācālam Pangulanghayate girim Yat kripatamahau vande Paramanandamadhavam Sarvopanishado gavaha Dogdha gopalanandanaha Partho vatsas sudhir bhokta Dugdham Geetamritam mahat Shantakaram bhujagashayanam Padmanabham suresham Vishwadharam gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam shubhangam Lakshmikantam kamalanayanam yogibhirdhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatham Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita-tadgatena manasa Pashyanti yayoginaha Yasyantanna vidus-sura-suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre kurukshetre Samaveta yuyutsavah मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत Sanjaya. Warm welcome once again to all of you to today's session on the tips for memorizing. For the benefit of those who have joined us newly, and we have some attendees who have joined newly today as well, a quick recap of what we had discussed in the initial few classes. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita is found in the Bhishma Parva of the Mahabharatam. As you all know, the Mahabharatam is one of the great epics from Bharatam from India, and it was composed by Maharshi Vedavyasa, and it is the longest epic in the world with 1 lakh verses. And in the Bhishma Parva of the Mahabharatam, we have this wonderful work called the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita is so significant and so important because it gives you the essence of the Vedas, the Upanishads. Sanatana Dharma has a treasure trove of literature. The literature is so vast. You have Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Puranas, Itihasa, and so many great works. And the Bhagavad Gita gives you the essence, the tattva of the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are the foundational works of Sanatana Dharma. So if you see one of the dhyana shlokas which we have learned, Sarvopanishado Gavaha, that is what it says. Sarva Upanishadaha Gavaha, when all the Upanishads are compared to cows and they are being milked by Gopalanandanaha, by Krishna. So Bhagavan Krishna is milking all these cows of Upanishads, and Parthaha, that is Prithayaha Putraha, the son of Pritha, that is Arjuna, he is the calf which received this milk of the essence of the Upanishads. Sudhihi refers to all the wise people. Bhokta, they are enjoying this great work. Dugdham, the milk, that is Gitamritam, the nectar of Gita is the milk. Mahat means very great. So this shows you how the essence of the Vedas and the Upanishads is found in the Bhagavad Gita. And we refer to Krishna as Jagat Guru, Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. So as a guru, he gave this great work to the world for it to be a guide to humankind for all times to come. It is eternal and evergreen, and I have repeated this in other sessions also. For every person in every walk of life, it is very relevant. It is a great psychological guide, a practical guide, a spiritual guide, and many great world leaders also have recorded their experience in studying the Bhagavad Gita. Just to give you an example, the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, he has recorded in his writings how the Gita has given him great strength and solace in all times in his life. And he used to turn to the Gita for guidance every time he faced a tough situation in life. And he called the Gita his mother. Many great acharyas are Shankara Bhagavat Padacharya himself. He has composed the bhashyas for Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Brahma Sutras. And in one of his stotram, that is Moha Mudgaram, which is popularly known as Bhajagovinda Stotram, in that stotram he says, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram, the Gita has to be sung, and Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dhita. Even if you study little of the Bhagavad Gita, it gives you immense benefit. And it is, like I already told you, it is a guide to lead life according to the principles laid down by Sanatana Dharma. And if you see the teachings of the Gita, it helps humankind to lead a balanced life, to stay balanced in all circumstances. Sukha, dukkha, mana, apamana, shitoshna, in all these circumstances, in happiness, sorrow, success, failure, when one is praised or blamed, to maintain one's equanimity. So if one lives by the principles of the Bhagavad Gita, one can definitely say that it is a great boost to one's mental health, one's psychological health, and one's spiritual well-being. So this is not really enough. There is so much to speak about the Bhagavad Gita, but this is just a very, very brief introduction. We will move to the focus of today's class, that is Kanthasthikaranam or memorization. So how does one memorize verses? The focus today would be Bhagavad Gita, but these principles would be relevant to memorize any Sanskrit verses. One thing which I'd like to say at the beginning is that each of you may find different methods for memorization. So what is easy for one might not be the same for the others, but these what I share today would be very general tips and certain tools which are generally very useful, but each of you can evolve your own methods as you start practicing and memorizing. So before we go to the questions which I would like to focus on in today's class, I thought I would share my experience of memorization and how my journey with Bhagavad Gita began. So it might help some of you. So I was introduced to Bhagavad Gita when I was around 4 years of age. So thanks to my parents who observed that I was interested in music and chanting and Sanskrit shlokas. So they took me to my guru, Vidushi Anantalakshmi Natarajan Mahodaya, who has started this great organization called Gita Govinda Samskrita Sangha more than 50 years ago. So in that organization, every Sunday early morning, lots of children would learn Sanskritam shlokas, including the Bhagavad Gita. So that is how I was introduced at a tender age of 4 years. And at that age, of course, I was just learning the English alphabet in school. So I was not familiar with Devanagari script or the script of any Indian language. I was not familiar with Sanskritam either. So there are many students who would come. Even now in the classes, you have many students they're from kindergarten and very young students who come there. So how does one pick up at that age? It is mostly by listening. So regularly attending classes and listening again and again, one picks up the verses. So though I had my Bhagavad Gita book with me, which I would take, like I told you, I could not read either Kannada or Sanskrit at that age. And in that class itself, every year we would have a Bhagavad Gita recitation competition. So at that time, my memorization began primarily for competitions, and which continued throughout my school and a little further thereafter also. So initially, of course, my parents played a huge role. Thanks to them, my mother would sit with the book with me and teach, and I would repeat every quarter, then half, and then the whole shloka, and ask me to repeat again. So that is how I memorized. So I was not, because I did not know reading then. Later, of course, when I started reading on my own, I could read the verses and memorize on my own. But the memorization started much before I learned the script. And after Gita Govinda Samskrita Sangha also, my guru Vidushi Anantalakshmi Natarajan Mahodaya encouraged me to start classes in my home. So then I started teaching. Initially, during my school days, when I began my journey with the Gita, it was through my classes and through competitions. And I did not start learning from the first chapter. So whichever chapter was there for the competition, my parents, my mother would help me memorize that. And that's how I memorized most of the chapters. I think if I remember correctly, the first chapter I memorized was the 15th chapter. And Chinmaya Mission also had many competitions back then. So some of the bigger chapters like the 10th chapter, 11th chapter, they had state level, national level competitions. So it was a challenge, and I found it very interesting to memorize. So that is how I went about it. And later, when again my guru Anantalakshmi Mata encouraged me to take up the Bhagavad Gita exams of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, that is when I realized how memorization actually helped me, because when I had to study the meaning of the verses, and there are a set of 4 exams covering all 18 chapters, because I already had the verses in my memory, it was much easier for me to understand the meaning. And of course, while learning the Bhagavad Gita, like I already told you in these classes, we were studying Sanskritam also simultaneously. So once I reached a certain level in Sanskritam, I could appreciate the meaning better. So this is how it began for me. But it is different for all people. They start at different ages, and there is no right age to start. You can start anytime. So with this, let me move to the first set of questions. So in Sanskritam, we have what we call Sapta Kakaraha. Kakaraha means words starting with the letter Ka. So if you see all these words, these 7 words are starting with the letter Ka, and they are the question words. So I took this as the basis for today's class to explain to you certain aspects of memorization. So let's come to the first question. Kaha or Ka? Kaha is masculine gender, Ka is feminine gender. So who? Who can memorize? Anybody can memorize. Like I told you, with my experience, I started at a young age. There are many others who started much later in life, and they have been able to memorize anything just by determination and dedication. So anyone can memorize starting at any point of time in life. And kada, when? I already answered this question. There is no right age to start. You can start anytime. In Sanskritam, we have a very famous saying which says, Nahi vayaha tejaso hetuhu, meaning age is not at all the criterion for brilliance. So right from a child to a very elderly person, anyone can do it. Next question, kutra, where do I do it? Connected to that is kutaha, from where. Kutaha in Sanskritam, in some contexts also means why, but here we'll take it as from where do I start. So you can start either from the first chapter and move consecutively till the 18th chapter, or you can start with any chapter you find interesting, or you want to start with a smaller chapter, like the 12th chapter has only 20 verses, 15th chapter is also relatively small. So you want to do that, then get the confidence of learning one chapter and then moving to others. That is also fine. So there is no hard and fast rule that you should only go consecutively. Like I told you, my experience has been that I mostly memorized whichever chapters were there for the competition, and with that itself, I could memorize a lot of chapters. So you can start from any chapter. And Kati, how many chapters do I memorize? I would urge all of you to try and memorize the entire Gita. And relating to this question, how many shlokas per day? Or whenever, if you're doing it in alternate days, how many shlokas whenever you memorize? So try and see how much you are able to do in the time you allocate. Allocate some time every day, I would say, to memorize. And it is better if you memorize or chant when the mind is very fresh, probably early in the morning. That is, I mean, that's what I feel. But if you feel that maybe late at night is better for you, anything which works for you. But when the mind is fresh and is able to grasp with absolute focus, attention, and concentration. So at that time, you can see how many you start with, and then you can see that slowly, your pace of memorization also picks up. Initially, you might find it that you might find that you're going slow, but later you will be able to memorize more shlokas. And next question, katham, how, and last question is kimartham, why. So katham, how is the focus for today. So let us move to the next slide. How do I memorize? So when I was thinking about how to put this across to you all, I remembered these 3 words which are displayed on the screen: Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. So in fact, these are also present in what we call Navavidha Bhaktihi in Sanskritam. That is the 9 types of devotion. The first is Shravanam, that is listening to Bhagavan's name. Kirtanam, singing the glory of Bhagavan. Smaranam, remembering Bhagavan continuously. The others are, I would just mention just for your interest, Archanam, that is repeating the name of God and worshipping. Vandanam, prostrating. Dasyam would be to serve Bhagavan. Sakhyam is considering Bhagavan to be one's friend, friendship. Atmanivedanam is complete surrender. So these 9 forms, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, that is to worship the feet of Bhagavan, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam are what we call Navavidha Bhakti, 9 types of bhakti. And the first 3 I thought are very relevant even to tell you how to memorize. So which is why I took the same words and put them here. Shravanam is repeated listening. I cannot emphasize how important this is, because the starting point of any learning is to listen repeatedly. Now we have multiple tools available. Our classes also are recorded and they are on YouTube. So with modern technology, you can listen anytime. So you can listen actively, as in say, if you're following the webinars, you can listen and repeat. Or if you just want to listen to the entire Parayanam, you can do that as well. So even when you are driving or just working, that can just keep playing. And there are many who have said that just by listening, they have been able to memorize subconsciously, like even without making an effort, they have been able to more or less memorize everything just by listening. So listening is the starting point, and keep listening every day. So the discipline is required, discipline and dedication to do it on a regular basis every day till you master it. And next one is Kirtanam. So by chanting, either by reading every day, or by, if you've already memorized, by practicing every day, that will help you remember the verses. So the way you need to go about is, like I was telling, pick up a chapter and try to master that chapter and then move to the next chapter. So go verse by verse. I will demonstrate in today's class in brief how you can do it, and go on repeating the verse. So you can read a verse 5 times, 10 times, then you will be able to know whether you're able to remember the verse, and try to close the book or close the screen or whatever device you're using, and then try to recollect. I will go through exactly how you can do it in the steps in the next few slides. Next is Smaranam, that is recollecting or remembering. That's extremely important, because once you memorize a few verses, then it is important to go back to those verses and test yourself whether you remember them. Initially, what might happen is you might memorize a few set of verses, then you move to the next set, then you wouldn't know whether you remember the previous set. So it's important to go on repeating and recollecting the verses which you have already memorized. Then go try to chant the entire chapter. You should also remember the order of the verses. I will come to how you can do that. So this is what I was speaking about. How do you start? You start with the quarter of the verse. Quarter, as you know, is called a pada in Sanskritam. Start with repeating a quarter, then move to half a shloka, then move to the entire verse. That's how we are learning in this class also. And try to remember in this way, pada by pada, then half a shloka, then the entire verse. Once you learn the entire verse, try repeating it 5 to 6 times, how many ever times each of you thinks is necessary, and then move to the next verse. After you learn the next verse, come back to verse 1, then try repeating 1, 2. Similarly, then do 1, 2, 3, then go on like that for the entire chapter. Then punaha punaha punaravartanam, which I already told you, revise again and again. So keep doing it, and you will realize that once you're very perfect, once you internalize the verses, the mind has amazing power. So even after many years, you will still remember them. So that is how, but that much of work should go on. I mean, that much of practice is necessary to internalize it so well that you never forget it. So just to give you an example, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre, the first verse, you start with Dhritarashtra Uvacha, repeat that multiple times, then learn Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre, repeat this pada, then Samaveta Yuyutsavaha, repeat this pada, Then repeat the entire line. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yudsavaha. Repeat it multiple times till you're able to chant it without looking at the book. Then move to the next line. Mamakaha pandavaschaiva. Learn this pada. Then the next pada, kimakurvata sanjaya. Then the entire second line, Mamakav pandavaschaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. Then repeat the entire verse. One important thing is that please repeat in tune. Do not read it. It is very important because it's much easier if you learn memorization with a tune, and you will remember better as well rather than reading the text. So whichever tune we follow in class is, you can follow the same tune, or if any other tune you're comfortable with, you could do that as well. So please learn in the tune, that is important. And some verses are big verses, so for such verses you could go again pada by pada. Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Repeat this again. Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Tvamasya vishvasya param nidhanam. Tvamasya vishvasya param nidhanam. Then half the verse. Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Tvamasya vishvasya param nidhanam. Repeat that till you get it by heart. Then move to the third line. Tvamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta. Tvamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Then learn the second half of the shloka. Tvamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Repeat it. Then repeat the entire verse. So the entire verse also you could read multiple times, then try reciting it from your memory. That is one way. And then the other verses, the reason I put them here was these are consecutive verses. So you finish learning this Anadi Madhyanta, then move to Java Prithibhyo. This is just an example I'm giving you. Come back to Tvamaksharam. Try chanting all three verses. You set a number for yourself, 3, 5, 10, whichever you're comfortable with. Initially start with a smaller number, go through 3 verses, repeat them, then again maybe 5, go to 10, like that, go through the entire chapter. So you must do it multiple times so that you're very, very perfect and you don't forget it anywhere. Okay, this continuing with Katham, how to memorize. Ekagra chittena, with concentration. Memorization is a huge boost for your concentration, attention span, and focus. So unless you read, chant, listen with concentration, memorization won't happen. So it's a great exercise for the mind as well. So with absolute concentration and practice regularly, make it a regular everyday exercise. Set a time for yourself in a disciplined way, sit at that time and do it. You can start with listening. Like I said, you can also keep doing it along with your other activities. Then reading, chanting, memorizing. Set targets and goals for yourself and go about it. See, for me, like I said, the way it happened was because we had a competition, I would memorize, keep that as the target and memorize by that date. So there was something there, a date by which we had to do it. So for now at this stage, one target, short-term goal for all of us in this webinar is the assessment, like I told you, which will be at the end of 18 chapters. So before we complete 18 chapters, you can start now itself. And in fact, you should start, because in the last minute memorizing all 700 plus verses is not possible. So start from now, keep a target and a date, or maybe by a month, how many chapters you want to do, and you work towards that target every day. And order of verses, one way is just by listening. Sometimes you get to know the order, it automatically registers. And otherwise you can keep reading the verses again and again in the same order. So take one chapter, go on reading it, and then the order is also stuck in the head. The other way is to probably write down. So for some, writing down verses is a huge advantage. It helps in memorizing. So if some of you find that easy, you can write down the verse after reading. In fact, writing down registers it better. And you can also write down the order of the verses. And you can compare with the book or with the slides and see if you've done it correctly. Then memorizing with the help of family or friends, this especially for students, children, it really helps. Like I said, for me, it began with my mother helping me to memorize because I could not read the script at that time. So if someone else is also memorizing with you or someone who can help you, give them the book or the slide, ask them to check and you can recite so that they'll be able to correct you whenever you go wrong. And ask them to also ask you in between the third shloka, fourth shloka, if not the number of the shloka, but at least if they tell you the beginning of the shloka, you should be able to chant it and continue chanting from there. So tune is very important. Like I said, it's very important to follow the tune, a set tune, whichever is easy for you. It helps you memorize better. Then is knowledge of Sanskritam necessary? For memorizing, I would say knowledge of Sanskritam helps, but it is not inevitable. So when I started, I did not know Sanskritam. A lot of them have also shared their experience. Whereas when you start memorizing, then by that itself, that can be a means for you to learn the language, for you to learn Sanskritam. Now, by attending these classes itself, many of you have written to me that you're able to read any other Sanskrit text easily. You're able to learn the rules of Sandhi. So this itself can become a tool to understand the language, then graduate to learning Sanskritam and understanding the meaning. Should I recite aloud? Yes. For memorizing, you should recite aloud. And chanting verses has many, many benefits. Today's class is not sufficient for me to deal with all of them. Maybe I'll just touch upon them in brief. But chanting aloud, like I've told you, it's a natural pranayama which you can do. It has a pranayama effect, improves your lung capacity. It's a breathing exercise. So do recite aloud, and also listening to your recitation would help you register the verses better. Teaching is a great tool as well. I have learned so much by teaching, and when you get questions and when you think about them, you learn so much more. So a teacher is like a great student in the class. So please, if once you learn perfectly, you can teach others also, and that also helps you to internalize the concepts and the shlokas better. Okay, this is actually a very vast topic. I don't think I will be able to cover everything, but in brief, why? There are innumerable benefits of chanting and memorizing. It improves memory power and concentration and focus. This especially students who have memorized verses, in their experience also and in my own experience, memorizing and chanting help you in other subjects also. And it improves one's grasping power, and it's a great stress buster. It has a meditative effect. If you chant and if you memorize, when you focus the mind on something so positive, it is really meditative. And today you have so many doctors who suggest lifestyle changes, yoga, pranayama, meditation for psychosomatic issues like hypertension, etc. So chanting and memorizing also is a form of meditation and a form of pranayama, I would say. Next, these are the different layers of existence. I will not be able to go into how chanting would help each of these layers of existence: Annamaya, Kosha, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. I would urge all of you to please go through the newsletter, September 2020 newsletter, which was released by Vyoma. In that, they have dealt with how each of these koshas would benefit by chanting. Okay, so coming to the conclusion, with what Bhagavan himself says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparaha samyatendriyah. A person with absolute faith, Shraddhavan jnanam labhate, would definitely get knowledge, jnanam, tatparaha. devoted to that, devoted to your task, to your goal. Samyatendriyaha means with the control of one's senses. So with faith, with dedication and devotion, if you do it, it is possible to memorize the entire Gita. It is possible to learn the Gita perfectly. And like Bhagavan says in the 6th chapter, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. He agrees with Arjuna that asamshayam mahabaho mano durnirgraham chalam. So the mind is really wavering. But with abhyasa, with dedicated practice, it is definitely possible to control the mind. So this is true for anything in life. With practice, you will be able to achieve anything, so including memorization. So I hope these tips help you. If you have any other doubts, you could definitely ask me. You can either email me or you can ask in class. Now, could I request Anuradha Bhagini to unmute herself and to share the webcam? So she has memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita. Anuradha Bhagini has memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita, and she has also offered this, like I said before, Sringeri Jagat Guravaha. So I urge her to share her experience so that it would be inspiring and encouraging for all of us. After Anuradha Bhagini, Neha will also share her experience. Neha is a school student and she has memorized the verses, and she's also shared some of the benefits she has experienced. So she will be speaking after Anuradha Bhagini. So let us hear Anuradha now.
Ram Ram Ram. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. I hope I'm clearly audible.
Yes, you're audible.
All right. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experience and journey with the Bhagavad Gita. So I would consider it both my pleasure and honor to express my journey so far and how it has enriched me in more ways than one. So before I go about sharing the tips for memorization, I feel it is relevant to share the circumstance and the manner in which I was first acquainted with text as something applicable in my domain of study. So unfortunately, I was not as blessed as Brinda ma'am to have come across the text at such a tender and impressionable age. So I came across the text as relevant to me and applicable to me as an adult. So I would share my experience as how an adult would manage to memorize the Bhagavad Gita. So why do I say something applicable in my domain of study is because at the time when I first heard the text, it was my maternal grandmother chanting it. And I thought it was relevant for people like her. It was something my grandmother would study, just as I would have to study physics, chemistry, biology. I mean, that's what I thought at that age. So she had her targets to be completed to chant each day, and on rare occasions that she stayed with us, I had the privilege of enjoying the hum of the chanting in the background. But at that time, it hadn't yet belonged to me as yet. So just about 4 years ago, while I was Kshamyatam, I think I've lost the power over here, so I'm not sure. I think I'll switch off my webcam. I'll just continue. So as I was saying, about 4 years ago, while I was pursuing my yoga instructor course at S. Vyasa Yoga University, I was once again drawn into the sound of the chanting. So captivated, as it were, by the mellifluous renditions of the selected verses of the text, classified into specific streams as Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, during the Maitri Milan sessions in the campus. And at that time, the first time when I felt a strong urge to be chanting, just like those women who used to chant during those sessions. So I wasn't satisfied by merely listening to the recordings of those sessions. There was that strong inclination to reproduce that sound from my mouth so that I could experience that sense of peace. whenever and wherever I wanted. That urge, however, lay dormant while I got busy with other important worldly matters, so to speak. And so it lay dormant. And then about 2 years ago, I was introduced to the concept of the Bhagavad Gita memorization by my guru, Sri Parna Didi, while pursuing my master's in yoga therapy from the same institution. By then, this Bhagavad Gita, which had belonged to my grandmother, gradually found space within my realm of being. And with his divine grace, I managed to memorize all the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita in about 8 months by listening to the recording of the Bhagavad Gita in the voice of Swami Brahmananda of Chinmaya Mission, which I would certainly like to address as my main guru, apart from the regular guidance and correction of the pronunciation via telephone calls by my human guru, Sri Parna Didi. So at this juncture, it is pertinent to mention that unfortunately, I have not had any formal education of Sanskritam language. I hadn't chanted or learned any of the Sanskritam texts before embarking on the memorization of this sacred text. And that apart, I must add that I memorized this text even before I understood how to chant it. I did not undergo this intermediary stage of learning to chant, which all of you, the students of this webinar, are fortunate to be learning, of understanding the rules of pronunciation of Alpaprana, Mahaprana, Dheerghaswara, Hraswaswara. I mean, these are all jargons that I picked up and understood only very recently after watching the recordings of these webinars during the lockdown this year. And why I mention it is because as an adult, that makes a lot of difference. For a child, when you learn, this child grasps the sound very intuitively, very quickly, any sound, and they're able to reproduce in a very identical manner. And as adults, we start associating these sounds, comparing with other sounds, and we have our own preconceived notions. So without the understanding of the text or the sound of each letter, it becomes a little more challenging. So in fact, when I began this journey, when this journey began within me, and when my guru began with the 12th chapter, that's the chapter one begins with when one wants to memorize. I mean, at least probably that is how it is for us adults, I'm not sure. Being the smallest chapter and relatively the easiest in terms of pronunciation, and very apt insofar as it is a chapter on Bhakti Yoga, and that's how a yagna such as memorizing the text can take place. So only when you have that utmost faith on that Supreme Lord. So anyway, so as what I intended to share was that when my guru conducted the Padapatha, just like how you have in this webinar right now, the Padapatha with the explanation, but there it was just the plain Padapatha repeating. So I just could not repeat back. Like for instance, I'm sure most of you, if not all, you would be able to easily repeat back in the class after Brinda Ma'am has chanted. So which I wasn't able to do, like when my guru said Evam Satata Yuktaye, that sound, I just could not repeat it back at all. I wasn't able to do it in the very first instance, and for a couple of days thereafter while I was in the ashram. So anyway, after that, it was just me and my guru, the voice recordings of Swami Brahmananda. So at that time, even if I looked at the text, the words seemed to be all muddled and crammed. They didn't hint any sound. It was like impossible to read from the text. So I think unknowingly I started with the way it has always been as per the Gurukul tradition, just like how ma'am mentioned right now about Shravana, listening, and thereafter the Anucharana, repeating. So the text was nowhere in sight when I did my memorization. During this entire period of memorization, you could say I was sort of obsessed with the idea. Especially once I had managed to memorize a couple of chapters, obsessed in the sense anytime, anywhere, the only thought in my mind was about the Bhagavad Gita and the chanting. So even if I had to just run on an errand, go on my vehicle, riding in the traffic, whatever I'd memorized, I'm just repeating it whenever the opportunity presented itself. Although I wasn't as consistent as I would have liked to be with my practice, since there were several occasions where I would miss the practice for a whole month and then try to make up for that loss by trying to memorize about 15 to 20 shlokas in a day, which I must say was extremely tough considering that I hadn't known how to read the text. I would only suggest that you do this exercise as consistently, diligently, religiously as possible. Even if it is 5 minutes every day, stick to it every single day, 5 minutes. As Krishna says in the context of taming the mind in 6th chapter, 35th verse, asamshayam mahabaho mano nigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate, which is also suggested by Mahashri Patanjali too. So he says about abhyasa vairagya bhyam tan nirodha, about how to calm the restless mind. So they all talk about, even when Swami Vivekananda says, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Everybody in different forms have always insisted on the aspect of abhyasa. The abhyasa, as mentioned by Patanjali, is you do something dirgha khala, for a long time, without interruption, nairantarya, no holidays. And it has to be with satkara sevito bhava. So it is with enthusiasm, without grumbling. So consistent efforts without cessation for a long time with conviction is very essential to master anything. Like even if you reflect your own life's journey about how you learned your very first language, speech for that matter. So everything came with dedicated, devoted practice. Nothing happens overnight. So it's just the same thing with the memorization of this divine text also. And I'd also like to say it is very important to stick on the path, howsoever uphill it might seem. So again, Krishna says in 7th chapter, 3rd verse, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye, yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvatah. So to elucidate, in the present context, there were about 150 students along with me when my guru gathered all of us with the Padapatha of chapter 12. And now, 2 years down the line, unfortunately, for me, no one else managed to complete it. And just a handful managed to begin the memorization exercise. So it is also a matter of prioritization. And from my experience, I would just like to say that memorization of this divine text is possible by anyone, any single person who has the inclination. Whether one is 2 years old or 92 years old, if you make up your mind, it's possible. And if somebody gives an explanation, especially an adult, once they reach a certain age, they say, okay, I've passed that age of memorization. And if you say my memory isn't good as an excuse and I can't memorize, then I'd have to say that excuse is as lame as someone saying I'm too dirty to take a bath. So the brain, whether a muscle or an organ, it needs to be used, trained, and then only you're able to harness its true and complete potential. So with regular practice, you only sharpen and improve your memory. So just work towards it, surrender. Don't set targets of when you want to complete it. Give it the time it needs. By saying that don't set targets, I mean it shouldn't be something like an item on your to-do list to be checked off and you do it in such great hurry. There should be kind of an effortlessness in this whole exercise, which is brought in by sheer passion. So the other aspect about any effort is that aspect of detachment. So abhyasa and vairagya go hand in hand, just like Lord Krishna and Mahashri Patanjali have emphasized and said in several ways. So with abhyasa, you hold on to it like an obsession. And when the time comes, just let go. It's like a detached action, as said in the second chapter, 47th verse, Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. So just don't have that sense of doership that I am doing it. Just do it for the sake of doing it. So coming to the very specific methods that I used, I think a few of the aspects Brinda ma'am has just highlighted. So I used to listen to the recording and repeat each pada 5 times, thereafter the line 5 times, and then the whole shloka 5 times. And whenever I picked any new shloka, I used to join the old shloka, entwine with the new shloka, making a garland of shlokas, just the way ma'am has just mentioned a while ago. Sometimes the repetitions used to be more than 5 times, depending on how difficult a particular verse has been. maybe 10 to 15 times, whatever it takes for you to just master on the pronunciation. Initially, yes, you might be able to do hardly couple of shlokas, not even a shloka per day. But then once you train yourself, you're able to go over a period of time, it becomes effortless. You're able to do it very easily. Also, just as ma'am mentioned, I have also observed that when I tried to memorize between 3:30 to 5 a.m. in the morning, I used to be able to do it extremely fast. For instance, I used to be able to memorize one shloka in 5 minutes. That's how it was for me. However, as the day progressed, the effort seemed more pronounced for obvious reasons, I suppose. And I also used to submit the day's learning to my mother each day. So howsoever little I had learned, whatever I had learned, I used to chant the garland for each day. It was like a ritual, and I felt a sense of responsibility in ensuring that exercise is done before I call it a day. And there were innumerable such rounds of submissions to my mother before submitting each chapter to my guru for correction of the pronunciation. And once a particular chapter had been submitted to my guru and the corrections noted, the same would not be visited again. I would not be chanting or listening or reading to that particular chapter again, because my guru used to say it will slow down your pace of memorization. And trust me, you will remember this chapter, whatever you've learned and set aside, when you gather them all together, you will. Mind is immense storehouse. It has immense capacity, which we don't know. We have not tapped it completely. So that's how it used to be. Finish a chapter, keep it aside, take up a new chapter, not visit or revisit the old again and again. So, except for the second and the 18th chapter, the rest of the chapters I could memorize it at one stretch, just as we ma'am just mentioned, making a chain of the shlokas that you complete. In the case of the 18th and the second chapter, being one of the two biggest chapters in the entire text, having almost 1/10 of the entire number of shlokas, I split the chapter into two parts. So I first memorized the first half, kept it aside, then memorized the second half, and thereafter merge the two. It's the same thing what you would do once you finish each chapter. So keep them aside. The same thing you do for this chapter also. And at the end, all the chapters are merged. And it took this whole exercise, once the chapters, all of them had been memorized, to gather them all and do the revision. It took about 2 to 3 weeks more, right in the end. And now it's been about a year since I've memorized the text, and now gradually the letters have beautifully unfurled themselves. So it's like I visualize the letters to be in the form of a bud within a book. And when I embark on the chanting, they begin to unfurl and bloom. So when I bumped into this course, I also chanced upon the Learn to Chant, the Lalita Sahasranama Stotram and the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram courses. And though by the time I came across the set courses, they had almost completed nearly 75% of the portion, it wasn't difficult for me to learn the text, to learn to chant the two texts. In fact, I was able to read those texts with ease and chant too without much guidance. And that's what I should say has how beautifully this language has grown within me through the Bhagavad Gita. So now, after speaking about the main course, so to speak, now I would like to also speak on the Phalashruti of this exercise. That is my experience of submitting this learning at Sharda Peetham, Sringeri. So right after I had memorized the text, my guru insisted that I send in my application to the Sharda Peetham at Sringeri to submit my Kantapata of the text. Sending the application during the auspicious day of Saraswati Puja of Dasara of 2019, I was invited to submit my learning on the auspicious occasion of Gita Jayanti in December 2019. It was a rare privilege and honor of sorts to be chanting the divine text on the famed Guru Peetham of Sri Sri Jagadguru Shankaracharya in front of the Acharya and the boys of the institution on that blessed day of Gita Jayanti. It was a divine experience. Something I think you have to just feel it to experience it. There were 6 of us examinees, and I was the only female examinee. And the Acharya would randomly pick a verse, chapter-wise, from the text, and we had to chant it from where he left. it was passed over from one student to the next, and that's how the entire text was covered. It was little challenging because we were like really fresh with our memorization, doing the random selection. So that is called the Anuloma Krama of the presentation. And each one have their own individual style of chanting. The pronunciation varies, and I wasn't aware or conversant with this rule of Sandhi and things like that. The boys from the ashram used to chant it completely. They would chant O, and I would chant with the Visarga Aha. So I didn't know what was happening. And once they chant, and then I'm supposed to continue, you have to be really, really sharp to really pick, because when the tune changes, when the style of chanting, when the pronunciation changes, it takes a while for you to gather what exactly has been said then. And that was a very interesting challenge for me. And that apart, once you gather all the texts, because this is a conversation between Bhagwan Sri Krishna and Arjuna, it's a conversation in the natural sense. So they are repeating so many words. The sentences are repeated in several chapters. So if you know the meaning, then it becomes easy. If you don't know the meaning, they're all just sounds. And if you lose track of one particular sound, and then you get so many, the boys over there had issues. They were getting deviated into different chapters. They begin with a particular chapter, they move on to a different chapter, just if you miss a particular sound. That's how deep or proper you should be conversant with your memorization. So that was another thing. And I used to note down all the repeated verses from different chapters which are identical. And I think I've not stopped noting them down, because across the entire text it's all very, very common. But then once you've memorized them individually, chapter wise, I think it becomes okay. So, and of course, after that, there was this individual chanting submission before the Jagat Guru of Sringeri. And he would ask any verse from any chapter randomly again. And we had to continue with the chanting from where he left. So for this entire exercise, I was awarded the first prize on the basis of my memory and pronunciation by His Divine Grace. And the experience at the Sri Sri Jagat Guru Shankaracharya Mahasamsthanam Dakshinamanya Sri Sharda Peetam Sringeri. It's an indelible episode which would stay etched for the rest of my life. Thereafter, I've also digitally memorized the Bhagavad Gita, which means that if one were to mention a particular verse number, I'm able to chant the particular verse. And if one were to chant a particular verse, I will be able to give the chapter and verse number reference. And that happens as a natural progression of things. So let me quickly recapitulate all the tips that I mentioned during this entire story that I shared. So as I said, anyone can do it if one desires. You just have to make up your mind. For those who know the language, memorization is but a natural progression. And for those who don't know the language, now having been taught the rules of pronunciation, the basics of Sanskritam letters so proficiently and unambiguously by Brinda ma'am, the texts having unfurled themselves, memorization should indeed be a cakewalk. Consistent and regular practice. However tough, don't give up midway. Maintain detached practice. And early morning hours might be the best time. You could also play the recording while you sleep. Running the recording for some time after you have slept and listening to it the first thing in the morning. This is something which we do in Yoga Nidra, putting the right seeds when the mind is impressionable. I did not apply this technique myself, but it is one of the most ancient ways that we have in our system of learning to memorize, which I adopt when I teach small little children. And we begin with the 12th chapter for us adults, I think so, I don't know. So we did the 12th, then the 15th, then the 13th, 14th, and there was a sequence based on probably the number of shlokas and the ease of pronunciation. And repeat each pada 5 times, just as how ma'am just demonstrated. So many of the tips and suggestions that I have shared here is mostly what I would call as hindsight. Most of them I wasn't aware while I was at it. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, and when asked to share my tips, they seem like the steps that I might have taken with his guidance. So remember the background with which I approached the memorization exercise. Now, all I want to say is that if I could do it, there's certainly no doubt that you too can do it. So wishing all of you the very best in taking up this yajna to the next higher level. Hare Krishna. I just managed to restore the connection. Hare Krishna.
Ram Ram Ram. I hope you all can hear me. I got a message that my audio connection was lost. I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much, Anuradha Bhagini, for sharing your wonderful experience of memorizing the entire Gita. I'm sure it is a source of inspiration, and it is encouraging for all others who have listened to your experience. So like she said, anyone will be able to do it. I know it's almost time, but Neha will also share her experience in brief. Neha, could you please share your webcam? And Neha is a student, and she's a young student studying in school who has been with us in this webinar almost since we began this last year. And she has started memorizing, and she's been very consistent in attending the classes and helping out with the Anucharanam, like you all know. So happy to have her speak to you all today. Over to you, Neha. Neha, I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you. I don't know if it's the same with others. You are unmuted here, but could you check your settings on your computer? I'm not sure if it's only the case with me.
Yes, ma'am. I'm also not able to hear Neha.
Yes, Anuradha Bhagini is also not able to hear. Many of them say they're not able to hear. Please, Neha, if there's any issue, no problem. You can do it next class also. Okay, I think Neha is not visible as a panelist now. Probably there's some issue anyway. One important thing which Anuradha Bhagini also highlighted was Shravanam. And as you know, in any spiritual discipline, the first step is Shravanam. Then it is Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So we have Neha back here.
Ma'am, I hope you can hear me now.
I can hear you, but I can't see you, Neha. But if you wish to continue this way, it's fine.
No, yeah.
Yes.
Ram Ram Ram. I'm Neha Anisetti. I'm in class 7th and I study in Delhi Public School, Bangalore North. Till now, for me, Bhagavad Gita has been a very divine journey. It is very enriching for me. The teaching by Brinda ma'am is very systematic. My sincere thanks to Brinda ma'am and Vyoma Samskrita Pathshala. In my memorizing experience of the Gita, verses, what helped me the most is listening to Brinda ma'am's chanting and repeatedly chanting and practicing the verses on my own. Also, at the end of the chapter, ma'am chants the entire chapter and makes the attendees and panelists to chant the verses, which is very helpful in memorizing because we are listening to it and chanting it repeatedly. Brinda ma'am always says, even listening to the verses is a yajna. By listening multiple times, it has helped me a lot in memorizing the verses of the Gita. Whatever I learned it in this webinar from Brinda ma'am. Hope you all also have a wonderful journey while memorizing the verses of the Gita. Thank you all. And once again, my sincere thanks to Brinda ma'am. Dhanyavada. Ram Ram Ram.
Dhanyavada, Neha. Ram Ram. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. So you all heard how Neha started with this webinar last year and has been memorizing the verses. So all of you, please take this up as a yajna. Listening, like Neha also said, is a Shravana yajna. Then learning and then internalizing the principles. I was just telling you about Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. listening continuously, then recollecting and deep contemplation and internalizing the principles, which ultimately leads us to sakshatkara, or the ultimate goal of self-realization. So in any exercise, like even Anuradha said, abhyasa is extremely important. So we have all embarked on this wonderful journey of studying the Bhagavad Gita. It is a yajna. Let us all continue this journey, and please do make it a point to listen, read, chant, memorize, teach the Bhagavad Gita. And let us try to lead our lives as per the principles of this great work, the Bhagavad Gita. We don't have any more time for any individual chanting in this class, but next class we will begin with chapter 12, which is Bhakti Yoga, a small chapter. Mostly in 2 classes we will be able to finish the chapter, and we might have 1 or 2 more panelists who share their experience of memorizing. If that is there, we might combine it with the revision of the 12th chapter. And just to conclude, be consistent in your efforts, and do it with a lot of devotion and dedication. And there is no single method as far as memorizing is concerned. All of us can share our experiences. We have started at different stages in life and at different ages. So all we can do is to share our experience. There are few people who have started learning consecutively from the 1st chapter and gone to the 18th. So if that is easy for you, you could follow that. Or like Anuradha said, you could start with smaller chapters and then learn the other chapters. So whichever works for you. And once you start involving yourself in this yajna, you will know the tips for yourself as to what is easy for you to memorize and how you would go about it. Like I already said, it becomes faster with time, and you will be able to do much better, and you become more efficient, memorizing more verses in a short span of time. And ultimately, also it is important to understand the principles of Bhagavad Gita, and memorization is a great step towards that as well. So with this, let us conclude today's class. You can always write to me in case you have any questions. You can email me. I will reply to your emails within a week or so. Let us conclude as usual with our Shanti Mantraha, and before that, the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishnah Yatra Partho Dhanurdharah Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutihi Dhruvani Tirmatirmama Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarvebhyah dhanyavadaha. Thank you all for attending. Thank you to our panelists, Anuradha and Neha, for sharing their experience. One last question which I would like to address: when will the assessment be conducted? That would be after we finish all the 18 chapters. So we will send you the intimation about the assessment in advance. But let us all start learning perfectly from now onwards itself. Dhanyavadaha. Agami Shanivasare Punarmilamaha. We will meet next Saturday at the same time. Dhanyavadaha.